Brain Damage Memorial Show. Quick word. A lot of people know Marvin Lambert, Brain Damage, a lot more than I did. I only met Brain Damage one day, and that was last year at the CZW Arena for the Cerebral Show. I've only been in CZW for a couple months, still testing the waters, proving myself. And the month before, this was October, the month before, DJ told me I'm working to return to Terminator Brain Damage. And I was excited and nervous and butterflies in the stomach since day one when he told me. And like I said, never met Marvin up until that day. So I got to the arena very early that day, found out we were the main event. So I was my first main event in the arena for CZW. So my emotions were high, and the match meant so much to me just beforehand. And then finally meeting Marvin, and people were like, he's going to get you in the ring, he's going to hurt you. Come to find out, he was the nicest guy in the world. And when I first met him, big hug, like we knew each other for 10, 20 years. And you know, he made me feel comfortable the whole day. We walked around the arena, we talked, and you know, he made a young kid feel real comfortable going into the biggest match of my career at that point. And talk and just made me feel, you know, made me feel ready to go when we got out there. And the last thing he said, he's like, you know, we're going to bring it, and we're going to bang. We're going to go hard. This is CZW. We're going to tear it up. And that's exactly just what we did. And we went out there, and the match went great. We brawled all around the ECW arena. We bled buckets everywhere, and Marvin's one of the best bleeders ever in the business. And that match already meant a lot to me, and meant even more now, knowing that Marvin passed. And I don't know if it was his last match, at least his last match in CZW. I had the opportunity to face him, and it was me and him in that match, and it went great. And afterwards, we get back in the curtain, nothing but big smiles and hugs, and just like I said, made a young kid who was very nervous that day feel real comfortable. And we went out there and we killed it. Had an embrace, got in the back, shared a beer, and it was just one of the nicest guys in the world, and made me feel real good that day. And that match already meant a lot to me, and it means even more to me now, and it'll hold a special place in my heart for the rest of my life. So Marvin, we're here today at the Skate Zone. This memorial show is for you. Everybody's coming together to, you know, raise money for your family to do whatever with. So I'm gonna go out there today. It's me and Mr. Callahan, and we're gonna go out there and kill for you, brother. And for that day on October 7th of last year, thank you from everything from the bottom of my heart. And rest in peace, brother. Thank you for everything.
I don't know if you knew this or not, but Brain Damage originally had a different gimmick. He was Fortune Payne. He was the hired thug bodyguard of a tag team in a group in Ohio. And this is probably late '97, early '98. And he wanted to get into some hardcore wrestling, so I started taking him to shows up in Detroit, Michigan for a promoter named Malcolm Monroe Sr. Insane Championship Wrestling. And he was called Fortune Payne at the time. It was Fortune Payne against Mr. Insanity, and we had a spot where he wanted to dive out of the ring at me over the top rope because he had seen people do it and he thought it looked really good, and for me to move out of the way. But usually people his size don't do moves like that, and he was probably a good 100 pounds heavier then when he was Fortune Payne than when you seen him as Brain Damage. But he did the dive over the top rope. I started to move out of the way, and I seen out of the corner of my eye that his feet had caught on the top rope, and he did a Superman dive straight head first into the floor. And it was a concrete floor, and it made an awful noise. And from where I was standing, it looked like it broke his neck. And he was making some terrible noises, but we didn't finish the match. I said finish, he said no, so we kept wrestling. And I thought for sure his neck was broken. And after the match, we did 5 more minutes or so, and he was tough, you know. We finished the match, and then on the ride home, his head's swollen, and I still think his neck must be broken. But he's scratching his head, and he said, I don't think Fortune Payne's working for me. He goes, I'm going to try a new gimmick. And I said, well, what are you thinking? And he says, I'm going to wrestle under Brain Damage. And I thought, well, that's fitting. So there you go, Brain Damage was born.
I don't have anything especially fascinating to say about Marvin. I don't have any great anecdotes, not because there weren't any great anecdotes, but because, like most really great anecdotes, the best stories can never be told. Too many names would have to be changed to protect the innocent, all that. But in spite of what that may allude to, Marvin Lambert was honest to God, and I'm sure you've heard it from every other person that you've interviewed throughout the course of this day. Marvin Lambert was one of the kindest, gentlest, most honest, good-hearted people that you would ever meet, and everybody eulogizes their dead friends that way, and obviously not everyone's a saint. Marvin wasn't a saint, but he was a hell of a good guy, and from the bottom of my heart, I will miss him dearly. I didn't know him perhaps as well as some people like Toby, deranged guys like that he trained with, that he lived around, but I would say that seeing that I saw him once a month for the better part of our relationship, and we chatted every couple weeks, I was about as close to the guy as I could be without being geographically close to him, and I loved him dearly, and I will miss him terribly, and I wish nothing but the very best things for his family, and I'm sorry for you in your time of need. But Marvin, brain damage, great fucking guy, and a terrible loss to the wrestling industry and humanity in general, in my opinion. That's all.
This is going out for Marvin. I'll never forget the first time I met you. Show in Delaware, you came in with Toby Klein. Didn't know anything about you. Saw this guy come out of the car looking like a monster. I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this guy's gonna be like crazy. Wrestled the match, bled like a pig, beat people up, punching people, and got to talk to you after the show, and everybody was going out to eat, and you're sitting in the car with Toby, and Toby gets out to eat, and you wouldn't get out because you were still bleeding. Not getting patched up as normal, and came out to the car talking to you out there, and I'm like, wow, this is like one of the nicest guys. And like I said, it was the first time I ever met you, and you were still like super cool. And here I'm thinking when I'm leaving, I'm like, wow, here's this guy that looks like Terminator, and just like such a real nice guy. And over the years, we talked a lot about family, about jobs, about wrestling. Was like many different places hanging out with you, and you're really, really gonna be missed. And like I said, just one of the toughest badasses that'll go out there and just kick the crap out of somebody, and then when you see you in the back or talking to you somewhere, and you're just like really a cool guy and really nice. So Marvin, you will be missed by everybody.
It's always sad when we have to do these kind of things, and like it's hard to be real sometimes. But Marvin, brain damage, whatever you want to call him, like he was a guy that was a great guy. He was a nice guy. He's like a big puppy dog, and it never happens to bad people. It always happens to the most innocent, calm, sweet people you ever meet in your entire life. And brain damage is known as the Terminator. He's supposed to be this big, scary, nasty individual, and he was legit the nicest human being I probably ever met in my entire life. When I first came to the combat zone, I was this really, really scared young kid. I'd only been wrestling for like 2 years, and he was the first guy that really like came up to me and accepted me into the combat zone. He kind of like took me under his wing and acted as like kind of like a big brother to me. He was the guy that he taught me how to throw a chair shot. He taught me how to hit someone with a fork properly. I know that might sound something stupid to you guys, but to me, like in the combat zone, that's a big deal. And he was a guy that'd been here forever, and the guy that was supposed to be so terrifying to come out of his way to step up and like really help me out. It meant so much to me, and he's a guy that became a true friend of mine, and like I'd call him a big brother because that's what he was. He was always a guy looking out for me. He was always a guy looking out for me and Moxley back in the day, and he was the guy that always kept telling us, he goes, you guys don't need to do this hardcore stuff, in his really calm little quiet voice. He's like, hey guys, I don't think you guys should do this hardcore stuff. You're too good for this. Like, don't do this. Don't let it like tear you down. Like, I want to listen to him. Like, he's such a great guy, and for him to leave the world so early. Like, it's an absolute travesty, and I'm absolutely heartbroken over it. Marvin, where you are right now, I just want to tell you I love you. We all love you, and you're going to be dearly missed. I love you, buddy.
Hello, fans. My name is Drew Gulak. Thank you for purchasing the Brain Damage DVD. It means a lot to me personally, and I know it means a lot to his friends and family. Marvin Lambert was one of the nicest guys I ever met in my entire life. And that's pretty deceiving for that guy, because as you should well know, he's one of the most intimidating looking guys you probably have ever seen in your life, whether it be intentional or unintentional on his part, which is probably largely unintentional. But my earliest experience meeting Marvin was at Combat Zone Wrestling, at Tournament Death 4, I think, 4, yeah. And he wrestled Beef Wellington in a classic comedy-style death match. But there was another appearance of him before then, wasn't there? I think there was a lead-in to that. It was definitely at the arena. It was at the arena. It wasn't outside in the field in the middle of nowhere. He was at the arena before that, I'm pretty sure. Okay. Fact checkers, you can check my facts on that. But my earliest memories of Marvin were coming into the arena and getting the ring set up and getting the chairs set up and stuff, and just being excited for the show, you know, whatever opportunities I could have being a younger guy coming up in the business. And you never quite knew what you were going to see at CZW. You know, every month in and month out, you were conditioned to expect the unexpected. And I don't know if I expected it, but I was greeted by a very large, scary Terminator-looking fellow. Looked like he had a metal skeleton and eyes of steel, and a couple piercings and a really intimidating haircut. And I go up to him and go, "Hello, I'm Drew. Nice to meet you." And he goes, "Oh, hey, buddy, what's up? My name's Marvin. Nice to meet you. Yeah, it's really cool to be in CZW." And I'm just like, holy crap, this is the nicest guy in the entire world. And I'm sure there are like a million stories just like this on the DVD, and that's just a testament to how nice this guy was. And he was such a pleasure to be around. I only had one in-ring experience with Brain Damage, and I know he would have liked to have another one too, or at least I think that. And that was a random CZW show, and they had the former champions battle royal, and I was like just starting my heel character run, and as a singles wrestler. And Brain Damage was like the second entrant in this battle royal with me, or at least he was the second one in the ring. So picture this skinny little green kid in wrestling in like these plain wrestling trunks, and standing next to this giant Goliath who's like an internationally known deathmatch monster. And I'm looking across from him, and I go, "Me and you, right? We got this. We got this, bro." And he goes, "Yeah, bro, we got this. You and me, two of us." And I was just trying to make him laugh, and it was just, I don't know, it was one of my favorite memories in wrestling, period. And anytime I think of Brain Damage, it's one of the first things I always go back to. But in short, he was such a nice guy, and it's terrible that I have to say it through this method, because I have no problem ever saying that in any light about that man ever. We miss you a whole lot. That's a fact. And I just want to say again, thank you to the fans for purchasing this DVD. It's for a great cause, and I hope you enjoy looking back at his legacy that he's left. Thank you, guys.
To be honest, I didn't know Marvin that well personally. I more admired him actually as a fan of his work, and how dedicated he was to his craft, and how he by far was one of the toughest guys to ever come into CZW. But the little bit that I did get to interact with him, like everyone has said before, he was one of the most genuine, one of the most nice guys. He welcomed me, when I was brand new to CZW, with open arms, and it's something that I'm very thankful for, and Marvin will certainly be missed.
I think, like I was saying before, one of the things about Marvin that a lot of people may not have known about him, especially the fans, is how nice of a person he really was, and how genuine he was about what he did in the ring. And Marvin was the kind of guy that would literally give you the shirt off his back. Like, seriously, he would do anything for you, and he's deeply missed. And he's missed by the fans, and he's missed by us. We all lost a brother last month. So, I miss you, bro. And I'll see you someday.
Alright. Brain Damage, Marvin was the sweetest badass I will probably ever know in my life. He would come up to me at a show, put his hand on my back, give me a kiss on the cheek, and then go to the ring and punch the fuck out of somebody. I'm really gonna miss him.
So our first real thoughts, it was probably 2005, IWA Mid-South in Plainfield, Indiana. We were in this tag gauntlet match, and it was my brother and I versus Brain Damage and his partner, and I just remember looking at him and just being so intimidated, just looking at him like, this is a goddamn Terminator. Yeah, fuck. It scared the shit out of me, but I remember the match just went so smooth and so well. I believe they eliminated us, and they got eliminated by Hero and Claudio. So that was our first encounter with Marvin.
The great part is like Dave was saying, he's really intimidating, but after the match, like, it was like we were boys forever, you know what I mean? Like, he's such a great guy. So like, outside the ring, he's an amazing individual, he's going to be very missed.
One of the last trips that he actually did to CZW, he rode with us. I believe it was me, you, Drake, Jake, and Scotty.
Yes. No. I can't remember, but Mike Williams and Derek.
Yeah. That's right.
It was a weird van. It was a weird van. It was a very weird van.
But I remember he wrestled Tremont, and that match was just amazing. It was just one of the most amazing matches I saw on that card. And I remember they were trying to patch him up, and he didn't want to make us late because we had to get home to a show the next day, and he didn't want to be late. He didn't want us to be late to the show, so he looked at the doctor and was like, fuck it, I gotta go, and just wrapped a towel around his head, and he met us at Gino's. We were all getting cheesesteaks, and I remember at one point in time, he started bleeding so bad that it started to bleed through the towel, and the towel started dripping blood, and we stopped on the side of the road, and me and him are on the side of the road, and I'm trying to patch him up, and a cop, what was it? Really wasn't a cop, was it? It was like the Turnpike Patrol or whatever comes up, and he looks at him and he goes, what happened to this fucking guy? And we're like, he's like, pro wrestling. And the guy was like, okay, man, cool. And fucking just left. Got his car and just fucking left. And I remember patching him up.
I was sleeping, because we like to take turns on the road. So I was sleeping. I wake up, to the wind blowing through my hair.
We were in the back
and I'm
seat.
like, what the hell's going on? I look around and the van is bloody, like it was a horror flick. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? Next thing you know, I look over and I see Marvin just bleeding all over the side of the road. I'm like, Jesus, what's going on?
They took was it a t-shirt or was it a towel?
I ripped up my towel.
It was a towel, and they ripped it up and they tied it around his head and tied it in the back, and he looked like a deathmatch samurai. Right? It was insane. But like you said, Marvin's one of the most intimidating looking people ever. Like he reminds me of like a Frankenstein and the Terminator mixed together. Like he just could turn you to stone with one look. Well, we were driving and everyone was passed out. And Marvin's in the front seat with me, and he's going in and out of sleep, probably from the loss of blood. But he's got his towel on his head. And I'm the only one awake, so I figure I'll throw in my headphones and that'll keep me awake while everybody's asleep. So I'm jamming out with my headphones, and I would feel somebody slap my leg and rub my leg, and I pulled my headphones out, and I'm like, you okay, brother? You all right? Everything okay? And he goes, are you okay, brother? Are you doing all right? Are you awake? And I go, yeah, I'm good. Are you good? He goes, I'm good. and he would fall back asleep, and that happened probably like 6 times in a 4-hour period. And then to me, that was just like, man, this dude is one of the toughest people I've ever met, and absolutely the nicest guy. I remember he didn't have much money getting to the building that night, and once he got a little bit of money, he went and bought like a handful of 5-hour energies, like a Mountain Dew. And I was complaining about not having enough like energy, just not feeling it. And he goes, "Here, brother, you know, take one of my 5-hour energies." And I'm like, "No, man, I don't want to take it." And he goes, "No, please take it." And I just was like, "Man, you know, thanks, Marvin, thanks." Like he doesn't know me from Adam, and like, you know, he was just one of the nicest and coolest people I've ever met in this business, and it was my absolute pleasure to know him.
We always had this joke, like, if we were ever going to bring anyone to a fight, it would definitely be Marvin. We'd bring Marvin
You probably wouldn't even have to get in the fight. They would just be so goddamn scared.
I think that's our first encounter with him, and that was the last time we had an encounter with him.
Yeah.
You're going to be missed, my friend. You definitely will.
Absolutely.
Well, it was Marvin who originally, I guess, was, I would say, probably the first person to actually look out for me in the business. First guy who taught me a lot of things. Anytime I was on the road with him, he always made sure I had an energy drink in my hand. And then I actually finally had a chance to get in the ring with you, Marvin. I'm glad I actually had that opportunity. You're definitely going to be missed. Definitely missed by me and also my brother. You had a big influence on. I just want to thank you for everything you've done for me. And you know, hope everything's good where you're at. I know you're in a good place, but hope everything's good for you. And thank you very much.
The crew all has the same story. The first time they met Brain Damage, and crap show, middle of Delaware, cut his head off, bleeding like a pig, which was insane. And then we met him at a rest area or convenience store afterwards. He couldn't even go in and get anything to eat because he was bleeding so bad. But from the first time we met him, we're like, this guy's a killer. And we found out, no, he's probably the nicest guy we've ever met. I know that sounds cliche, but every time, every show, he would come up to anybody in the crew and be like, "Hey, how you doing? What's new? How's everything going?" Always asking about us rather than, you know, what can you do for me? He was very respectful to everyone in the business. From my perspective, dealing with Marvin, you know, giving him big matches, he'd always get nervous, whether it was wrestling low-key in the middle of Alabama or Zandig in Philadelphia. He just wanted to go out there and give like the greatest match he can give, and he was so in awe of working guys that, you know, were really equal to him, but he thought were way above him. You know, he would get nervous, and he didn't want to disappoint, whether it was the fans, you know, the other wrestlers, or even the guy he was working with. So the one thing that Marvin always had was respect for everyone. He treated everyone equal. Yeah, he looked like he was the Terminator, but he was also a teddy bear. I mean, he really cared about everyone that he dealt with and everyone, you know, in the back, the fans. He was never mean to anybody that I saw. Even if he didn't like people, he was still respectful. On a side note, I want to thank Brett Lauderdale and Danny Havoc for putting together this show to help raise funds for Marvin's family. In 10 or 12 days, they put together a hell of a show, promoted it, let the fans come out and show their respect to Marvin, you know, just like he showed to them. Also to all the wrestlers, any of the production staff that helped out with this day of the event. The good thing now is we'll help raise money for Marvin's widow and his family, and this way you can remember him, you know, because he gave every drop of blood he could inside that ring. He would just go in there and punch the fuck out of somebody, you know what I mean? But afterwards he'd be, you know, just appreciative that he got to go out and show what he can do. We'll miss you, Terminator.